Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfalla.
And Ray Alfalla is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Hello and welcome to Apex Racing TV and our coverage of the Apex Racing League GT Championship Season 4 presented by Colbek. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick, alongside me is Peter Mackay, Sam Kumo operating the cameras, and this lovely broadcast you are seeing up on your screens right now. And we're here at a classic of British motorsports. It is a Donington, a circuit, Peter, that we don't usually associate necessarily with these GTE cars. However, I imagine the judges are going to have a lot of fun tonight. Not going to be easy to overtake, but to go through those first sector of the lap, the sweepers left and right, should be a lot of fun for them this evening.
That it will, yes. I'm absolutely revved up for this one. The season really progressing nicely in the Apex Racing League GT Championship, with the drivers at the moment out qualifying around Donington Park, an absolutely iconic circuit in British motorsport. It's actually began as a motorcycle racing circuit all the way back in 1931, so it's got some real history. And of course, everybody's heard about the Craner curves, the sweeping S-bends heading down the hill. They're actually named in honour of Fred Craner, whose idea it was to build a race circuit here in the first place.
It's a pretty fitting tribute to him. Certainly that original circuit back in 1930, very dissimilar to the one we have right now. But yes. So what was, apologies, we're already going on tangent, but was Craner around then when those curves were implemented, or was he less involved by that point, or was he the brains behind the S's?
You're testing me now, Sam. But he was the brains behind the circuit, and you know, I actually don't know. And normally, you find corners are often named after a person that's passed away. It can often be the case, and that might well be the case there. That's my homework for tonight. I'll have to come back to you on that.
We still haven't watched that YouTube clip that I sent as well. So you're going to be a busy boy this week. Alexei Nesov, you can see he's at the top of the standings. In starting season 4, he had a slight issue back at Zolder. He blew his engine in race 2 after hitting a curb very hard. Still got a comfortable lead though, ahead of Matej Fulin, who wasn't quite able to wasn't really able to utilise that opportunity. Then it was Mika Paluch, Danny Lee, and Sven Newman rounding out the top 5. I think only one of those top 5 actually won a race so far this season. Apologies, Lee did win a race as well. But those other guys, Nesov's just been taking them all for himself. In the amateur category, it's Tara Adjinson's leading the way. He's come on really strong, kept his form up back at Zolder. Steve Burke there in 2nd place, and it's Kevin Kitzman. Driver in form is Drew Becker there in 4th place. He has been rapid, the highest scoring amateur driver for the last 2 meetings, so watch out for him. Jensen Adjinson, who was leading the championship after the first couple of meetings, down into 5th position. And there's still plenty more very competitive drivers behind that. So you can see we're currently in this qualifying session. 4 more minutes for the drivers to set a time. At the moment, Peter, this is slightly unusual. Alexei Nesov, who's taken pole position, I believe, at every round so far this season. Besides, well, he's been on the front row every round this season, besides the race where he had to start from the pits back at Montreal. But now he's been pretty exceptional. So this is certainly not where he's used to being, in 7th place, but he's got time to fix that.
He does indeed, yes. Of course, only, well, I wonder if we'll see the magic minute broken. Maybe not, if Sven Newman is at 1 minute 0.9 at the moment. So that's some fantastic pace. It just shows you how impressive these GTE specification machines are. If you're used to watching GT3 cars, they're not all that different, but they do have quite a bit more aerodynamic grip. They have very sophisticated electronics in terms of traction control, but no ABS. You're on your own with the braking. So it's very much a car aimed at the pro driver, but Sven Newman improves his time there, Sam. 1 minute flat 0.892. And Nesov, he was just building up to it. Now 101 flat for Alexei.
Yeah, that is a whole lot closer than that. You can see that third down to pit separated by 1/1000th of a second. That's pretty astonishing. We saw a close qualifying at Daytona in the GT Team Championship last season. That's really up there in terms of that competitiveness. Still, you'd expect some drivers to improve, surely. We are going to see that provisional pole time of Newman being beaten with this amount of time remaining. Kevin Kittelman on awesome form. He qualified really well back at Zolder. It wasn't a brilliant meeting for him in the end. Not a fantastic race too. I think got involved in a crash early on. Still scored some handy points. You can see he's got quite a few cars between him and the next amateur judge. He was just backing off on that last lap before setting about another attempt. Newman back in the pits, so that might be it for Sven Newman. I think it is. He's not currently out on the track, so a lap at the moment. This is really make or break now in this session, and Kittelman trying to get into the top 10 right now, which would be astonishing as he just misses the apex at the end of the Craner curves.
Yeah, you really are hanging on at the bottom of the Craner curves of the old hairpin, which is ironic because you take it at quite a speed as well. And we're looking at the Arano Esports car of Alexei Nesov. Now, can he pinch pole position He's on a flying lap, you can tell, and look at Speedy Carrows through this final chicane here at Goddard. Over the line, can he improve?
Outlap.
No, he's on an outlap. There you go. Well, it shows you if Alexei Nezov on an outlap, like the rest of us, on a flying lap.
Yes. Well, he's that's a very good point. Actually, that is quite depressing. He is got kind of complete this up with about 5 seconds of the session remaining, so it's going to be properly tight as Daniel Lee goes up into 5th place, but is off the track now. Fulini in 3rd, Palach back to the pits as well, so many improvements back there. Matty Chambers a bit further down the order at the moment in 14th, who's been quite up and down with Kuti only in 17th, but he's back in the pits. Steve Burke moves up into 13th place, and Derek Atkinson's up into 15th, so some of these amateur drivers playing in some very good times, but it's all about Nessel, really. These first couple of sectors not particularly inspiring for him. They're good, and if he could just shave off a 1/10 and a half of his best 3rd sector hit, this might be good enough for pole position. Nessel approaches the line. Is it pole? It is not, but it was very close. It was less than 100th of a second, but Sven Newman will take his first pole position of the season. Wow, had to wait for a while for it to register, but when it did, it was by the slimmest of margins. It was a good final chicane for Nessov, but he has to set up a second best once again, just as he did at Zolder. He did win though in race 1 at Zolder. Let's see if he can do it tonight as well. But it's Sven Newman then on pole position for the first time this season for Core Sim Racing 1. Alexei Nessov alongside him. There's Matteo Fulini, great qualifying for him once again. There's Mick Palach and Daniel Lee, so close between those 3 drivers. Matteo Spear with another strong performance up in 6th. There's James Crouch, Dominic Engel, Gonzalo Cortez and Tom Brown rounding out the top 10. Then it is Chris van der Nesse, Kevin Kittelman, top of the amateur drivers. Then it's Steve Burke, Matty Chambers, Darragh Adjinsons, Ronald Grossman, Dory Rukuti, Tom Bingham, Chris Prescott, Jensen Adjinsons, Tom Collins and Brian Kroon rounding out the top 22. Watch out for Kroon, actually, that's a better position for him. So too actually for Lockie Brown as well, 2 of the strong Indy Autosport drivers. Then it's David Gary, Anton Galmetzer, Marco Tolman, Edon Polovina, Stephen Broomfield, Fabian Elfers, Jan Kerner, Dave Chadwick, Derek Holland and Dean Powell, who'll be starting from the pits in this race. I think both him and I think there's maybe one other driver. Maybe they're not around today, but certainly Powell is starting from the pits for this one. By the way, quick shout out, or a very deserved shout out to our sponsor for this championship, who make this championship as good as it is. It is Colbek Systems, and Colbek is an IT reseller with over 30 years in business, working with IT managers, departments across the UK to find easy savings on Google Workspace, Office 365 and many more softwares. And if you visit colbek.co.uk/iRacing, you can see if you can get better pricing for everything that runs your IT. So do check out colbek.co.uk/iRacing. You can also see the driver of the day poll, which is on there, being very hotly contested. So I say that every single time, but every time I look at it, it always goes to a very deserved winner. No one's won it twice so far this season. So do certainly check that out to vote for who you believe deserves that mantle. But great to see Core Sim Racing up at the top. Peter, we knew that they were going to be a formidable team when they made their debut for this season. Took them a little bit of a while to get up to pace. You know, they're at the back end of the top 10, but recently they've been destined for race wins, and well, maybe this might be able to break that down.
Indeed, it could be, and of course a very, very short time behind the pace car here, so the tyres will still be very cold and the brakes will be cold, so watch out for that going down the Craner curves. Craner curves, cold tyres, oh, makes you shiver.
Absolutely, so the pace car will pull into the pits, and the field is under the control of Sven Newman. Nessov a little bit ahead at the moment, and there's a big jump back further down the order. But it is a strong start for Newman, who's going to have to go defensive down to turn 1. Daniel Lee trying to get an inside line of the DRS Wave Italy car ahead of him, and it's just Newman who holds on. Nessov, though, was going all out to tack down into turn 1. A remarkable start for Steve Burke. He gains 6 places initially, as here comes Nessov round the outside of the chicane curves into the old hairpin, and he is ahead. And the 6-time winner so far this season has once again got the launch off the line. Off the circuit goes Matesby after a strong qualifying, and Dan Atkinson's championship leader is off the circuit. And we've got a couple of cars absolutely flying into the air, and a couple of engines blown as well. That is a huge incident. They do have a faster pair. They'll be able to get back to the pits, but well, what a move there from Alexei Nesov.
I'll tell you what, that was big risk there from Alexei Nesov, but big reward. He can now control the race how he wants. I tell you what, with that qualifying pace that Sven Newman had, Nesov would have been thinking, I don't want to let him get away here. And look, this is just incredible from Alexei Nesov. We know the Porsche should suit this particular circuit. It's very good in fast corners. Now, where does this all begin? James Crouch loses it on the inside, and that kicks off an almighty melee. And oh, he's parked. Oh my goodness me. Oh, that was like a rugby. Gee whiz.
Well, he's just won the high jump there. That was a bit of yeah, I'm forgetting the move now, but that was pretty remarkable. He's jumped the bridge by a comfortable margin.
6 runs.
Yeah. Pretty remarkable. That's one of the best things I've seen all week, to be honest. So yeah, brilliant stuff. So Newman in down to 3rd place. Kevin Kissman at the top. He has to take back to the pits though as Kissman. That's why he's appearing there. So that's a massive shame actually for Kissman. Considering they had a pretty good qualifying earlier on. In terms of the drivers who lost out there, so Crouch and Galmetz are both towed back to the pits. And I think Kissman did as well. I'm not seeing anyone else towing back to the pits. Powell, oh no, yeah, Kissman, I don't know what's going on with our time screens, that is really odd that Kissman's at the top there. But also Rakuti also had to return to the pit, so those guys got to work hard. However, 27 car reverse grid, they don't have to gain too many places to get reverse grid pole. So we see Broomfield, who's up 15 places from his start remark.
Brilliant start there from Stephen Broomfield in the big BMW M8, the big bruiser. Twin turbocharged V8 in the front of that car. It's known for being a bit of a rocket ship on the straight line, but a little bit more cumbersome in the turns. So of course, all these cars, they get absolutely so close on overall lap time, but they all make it up in slightly different ways. The BMW a bit faster in the straight line, the Corvette very nimble mid-engine, of course. The 911 RSR Porsche, brilliant aerodynamic grip as well. So it's just you pick your poison here in the ARL GT Championship. You pick which car and hope that it's you've made the right choice, because of course we go to a huge variety of circuits. Whoa.
Yeah, and of course also, you know, you have balance of performance change as well, so that's certainly not an easy choice. But that iRacing done a decent job, I think, with the BMP, the Porsche a little bit the car to go to at the moment, I think, but I don't think there's any mega weak cars apart from the Ford. Broomfield is off the circuit, and he was pulling away from those drives. He's let all of them go though very quickly, and what might be able to get one back here, that is Jan Kerner, who he's just got past for EK Racing. That's an easy move for the pro driver right there. Steve Berg, of course, top of the amateur drivers at the moment, and it ended like this. Berg may go to the top of the standings. Jensen Adjenson's in 20th place, but Darrett Adjenson's down in 29th. So we could have a change for the championship lead. I wonder if we could actually go back to the starts of the race with an onboard of Steve Berg, because he got a remarkable start. He's now being overtaken by Engel, which was probably going to happen anyway. But Berg gained about 6 places off the line, because we had a bit of a concertina effect. So we might be able to see this one here. This will be interesting to watch.
So at this point, we saw Sven Newman hold for quite a while, and then there's checkups. Interesting. Okay. Well, maybe just timed it absolutely perfectly, and you can see cars just driving out the way almost. And well, I tell you what, Steve Burke, obviously, as soon as he got the green light, he just hit the gas and went for it.
Oh, a little bit of contact as well down the corner curves, that's scary. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, once the green flag goes, you go, whether the car ahead of you is gone or not. So he was lucky there, but if iRacing deem it to be legal, probably is. Fulini is being overtaken by Palic. Here comes Palic. On one course in racing car loses a position, one gains a position, and now Fulini's down to 5th place because Daniel Lee easily goes through. A little bit of netcode contact, I think, between the two of them. He hops up into 4th position. That's a shame for the 2nd place man in the championship.
Indeed, Matteo Fulini has been really the model of consistency. He hasn't actually been on the podium all that much, but he's always just been there solidly picking up the points and kept himself in the championship battle. I mean, Alexei Nezov, nobody can match Alexei's pace, but of course, with Alexei just being so quick, often he drives away to the win in race 1, but then in race 2, of course, with our reverse grid, he's got a lot of work to do, and often being so far back in the pack, Alexei Nezov hits issues in race 2, whereas Fulini's kind of he's in the kind of upper mid-pack the whole time. I'm sure that's not deliberate. I'm sure he's going absolutely as fast as he can, but it's working. It really is working. You know, again, we're so used to seeing that Italian flag with Matteo Fulini's name up in the top 5, and over a season, it's very good if you can do that on a consistent basis.
It's actually fairly unlucky, it's Fulini, because we have a very steep point scoring system compared to other leagues for those top places. It really does benefit you to win the race. I think it's like 65 points to 58, if I recall correctly. Yes. I mean, if we had some other point systems that I know other leagues have, it's like 2 extra points for the race win, like 100 points to 98 or something. Yeah, you would be a lot closer with Fulini. You'd really benefit from a system like that if we had. He's still persevered well. Hasn't yet had a DNF. He may have finished in top 10 every single race so far this season, Fulini, so he's really doing well. Broomfield up ahead of Bingham. So Bingham down into 17th. A few good races actually recently as Tom Bingham. Performance Link Esports, of course, teammates with Chris Van Den Nette. Apologies to Van Den Nette if his name is coming up wrong. We'll try to adjust that for future rounds. He's up there in 10th place. Not a bad race right now for Performance Link. He's now got to Jens Adjensons, trying to get past him, his fellow amateur driver. And Adjensons should be passed because he had a bit of damage on that rear wing. Not too bad around a circuit like this because that will mainly be affecting your straight line speed, and there's really not many straights around here. Might well see him move down into the final corner.
Let's see if Jensen Adjensons can do that. It would be very, very impressive because, yeah, that's not what you need, is a bent-up rear wing. Of course, the 911 RSR, you can see on the back there, has got huge aerodynamic grip underneath the car from the rear diffuser. It really pushes the back of the car down. And actually, Porsche, when they initially built the 911 RSR in 2014, the car was very much a traditional 911 with the engine hung out over the back. But that kind of didn't allow them to put the aerodynamics in that they needed to be competitive in the GTE category. So they moved the engine, swapped the engine and the gearbox around, put the engine a little bit further forward, and that allowed that room to put that big diffuser in there. And the car immediately hit success after that. As you see Daniel Lee now defending from Palic, but Lee very, very strong on the brakes there and really chucks it through Goddard's chicane very nicely and hangs on to 3rd position.
Yeah, so that's actually a move there for Daniel Lee. He was sizing up for the first half of the lap, managed to get alongside eventually, and then very brave on the brakes into the final chicane. So awesome move there from Lee. I really didn't think that we'd have any overtakes between these top guys, similar to what we saw back at Zolder and the Phillip Island. It was fairly slim pickings as well. But Lee already made a couple of moves, albeit that first one feeling very much helped by Palic. Carving the way through. Tom Brown, who of course won back at Montreal, pretty close to these guys. As Adjensons still trying. Oh, has Gary just gone off the circuit? He was off the circuit for a moment, so I think Gary's all right. No, he is. Oh, no, he's going to lose a place, I think. Here we go. The inside there for Marco Tolman. Past Gary. Kroon just sitting on the back bumper of these drivers. Broomfield catching up to them fairly quickly as well. About half a second a lap faster at the moment. So yeah, Tom might be able to start pulling away here from Gary, should the Dutch driver.
Yeah, we'll see if he can manage that. We're just approaching half race distance here at Donington Park. A proper classic circuit, of course, home to British Touring Car Championship every year, and also the British Superbike Championship as well. And I tell you what, this is one of my favourite layouts for the British Superbike guys. When they come down Craner curves on a 220 horsepower motorcycle, it's wow! It's so special to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a little bit, it's a little bit annoyed with this, how the fact that, because had they had the 2010 renovation, it would have been pretty cool. And the track layout that they had was looked pretty nice. Of course, you know, if we did have that, we may not have had the new Silverstone, but it would have been cool to have two proper heavyweights. As that's a heavyweight move from Matty Chambers, and all of a sudden, Buck, who was up in 7th place for most of this race, he suddenly lost a lot of places there. His beer, he went off the circuit, of course, at the old hairpin on lap 1. He's trying to make his way around the outside. There's contact between him and Chambers. Two drivers with lots of experience in ARL leagues. They do some lovely reversing, as long as no one else just crashes into them. And they get back underway, but they may well need a faster pair after that hefty impact.
Very ouch, baby. Very ouch for the German Austin Powers Matthias Beer. Dear me. Well, it kind of looked like the cars just velcroed together there. It seemed like a very strange reaction to such a light contact, but the end result, Matty Chambers and Matthias Beer ending up in the kitty litter. Not good at all. And Matty Chambers is already carrying quite a significant amount of damage there as well. So interesting. Chambers just moves a little bit across. Matthias Beer jinks to the side to give him a little bit of room, and perhaps a little bit of netcode maybe. Sam, would you say?
Yeah, well, they seem to merge into one another as well soon afterwards, so it would certainly indicate that there was some netcode. So yeah, more unlucky than anything else. Chambers still going, and I think Beer still going as well. Reverse grid of 27, as Kerniff is going to lose a place. Kerniff did have an off a few laps ago, which didn't help his cause. He now gets overtaken by Ronald Grossman, who's well out of position. But yeah, 27 car reverse grid. The maximum we can get in this stage is 28. It is our biggest reverse grid of the season. quite a remarkable circuit point to come out, seeing that this is one of the tightest circuits we visit all season. Albeit much rather have a big reverse grid out here than Long Beach, which we visit later on in the season. So Joey Rakuti, as long as he doesn't do that too many more times, will be on pole position, reverse grid pole, if it ends like this. There are a few cars ahead of him that he could overtake, but Rakuti, very strong driver. Of course, DRS Wave Italy are a very strong team. Fellini, his teammate. I think Rakuti would run away with it, frankly. I mean, you know, even if it was 40 minutes long, Peter, if he starts from reverse grid pole, I really can't see anyone beating him, to be honest.
Well, we can always get surprises. You know, Kevin Kittleman will start quite far forward, and if there's one more incident, Dara Adriansons would actually. He's the man in he's the man who's going to lose past the parcel at the moment, is Dara Adriansson, because that difference. Who would have thought the difference between 27th and 28th would make such a difference? But of course it does. So if there's one car hits issues in the next 10 minutes ahead of Dara Adriansson, then he would move up to reverse grid pole, and I think that that would be a good fight at the front, wouldn't it, Sam, between Dara and Rakuti?
Yeah, that'd be a cool front row, and just it'd be absolutely gutting for Dara Adriansson's leader of the Amateur Championship, of course, to start in 28th when his rivals like Steve Burke will be starting much higher than Kevin Kittleman will be starting on the second row of the grid. So it is massive for him to have just one more retirement, one more issue for the car ahead, and he will be in the box. I imagine that will happen because we've still got 10 more minutes of this race remaining. So it's Nessel leading the way, Newman in second place, staying within a second of the race leader, but not showing any signs of an overtake. Lee with a comfortable third place to fifth place for Danny Lee tonight. Went a little bit awry through rounds 2 to 5, but he's really come back at Zolder, where he took his first race win of the season, and here at Donington. And then behind that, it's Palage, Bulini, and Brown rounding out that top 6. There's quite a gap back to Engel and Co. This is Brian Kroon, who started in 22nd place. I thought he might be one to watch out for. And that seems to be the case. Of course, winner back at Montreal race 2. And he's not going to win this race 1, but he could get past David Gowrie. He's a little bit slower than him. 0.2 of a second slower on that last lap. Kroon will go the long way round. I feel like about this part of the circuit, Peter, it's all about just positioning the car so that you can just get the other car offline and then maybe go for a move in the second half of the lap.
Well, I think that's what Gowrie here in the big BMW is doing, just placing that car perfectly, and it's a really strong race car, the BMW, because it's got good straight line pace, but also look at the size of it. Yeah, so you can place it just nicely on the apex, just park it on the apex, and then gas it up. It's got the torque to do it. And you can see Brian Kroon's Corvette. Oh, there you go. Well, the Corvette can just turn on a dime. BMW goes wide and he goes through. So Brian Kroon up to 12th place.
Yeah, lovely stuff. That was committed, wasn't it? I mean, you could see the couple of corners before, just way more competent. Was Kroon taking wider turn-ins and carrying that much more speed into the corner. He should be able to clear off now. Gowrie's pretty close down to 1. I think he'd be better to pick his battles with the drivers behind rather than looking ahead for the time being. There's quite a few cars, quite a few quick drivers as well, lining up behind him. So Matthias Beer is now into reverse grid pole because Ricuzzi's gone past both Beer and Chadwick. I wonder if Beer and Chadwick have had an issue. Yeah, well, certainly Beer had an issue on that last lap, 1 minute 6.7, and any other circuit that'd be a blistering lap time, but around here, that's about 6 seconds off the pace. So problem there for Beer, and he's dangerously close now to Dar Adjensens, who isn't lapping particularly fast himself, to be honest. Fabian Elfers is catching up to him, so that's going to be a very tight battle for 27th as Chadwick runs wide. And, wow, 26 down to 29. This is going to possibly be the battle to watch in the closing stages.
I think it will be, because it means so much, and there's some drivers in here that with a clear view to turn 1 could really make the difference in the feature race. Of course, Dara Adriansen, we've seen him really, he's not leading the AM Championship for nothing. He really has punched above his weight all season long. I mean, so as have all those in the Autosport guys in the Porsches. Shame we've not got Drew Becker with us tonight, but apparently he's off hiking as well. So he says hiking rather than racing. And we look forward to having Drew back with us, because he's been a great addition to the championship.
Yes, that is a shame. That is a shame, because of course was it on a wonderful run of form was Drew Becker. I mean, he's done a few seasons of this championship, and certainly has taken his driving to a new level. So it will be good to see him back. Fortunately, I forgot my homework for this week, which was to think of some more Boris Becker puns. So at least I've got maybe a late submission for that one. Matthias Beer is really close now to Dave Chadwick. I mean, whilst 27th place would be a lovely place to finish, I imagine he'd quite like to clear the driver ahead and get a car in between himself and the guys behind, because they are catching. This is almost going to be a 4-car battle. Once again, this is the battle for reverse grid pole. 27 cars will be reversed. And so it is really important, the order of these drivers. Lockie Brown also catching up to these guys. Might be onto them on the last lap. Chadwick runs a little bit wide, and Beer runs wide as well. It's a big slide, and that's just alleviated the pressure for a moment.
Ooh, you feel this is going to be a bit of a grandstand one there in the closing stages, but I tell you what, Sven Newman has not let Alexei Nezov clear off into the distance. Only 1.1 seconds separating this pair, so far from done. And Newman's been really strong. In fact, it seems that the Corvettes have found something here. Of course, last time out in the ARL GT, that was before the big iRacing update, which is often when we do see the biggest change in performance. I think it's very, very minor, but it just seems like the Corvette's just that little bit stronger. And also this circuit with the fast changes of direction, I think it does suit that car.
What car was that, sorry?
The Corvette.
The Corvette, yeah. Yeah, they are certainly doing well. I mean, with Newman on pole, that's a testament to out-qualified Nessel. Is not an easy thing. As Atchison's up into a vertical pole, so Chadwick's been done. Now, Elfers could still get a vertical pole as long as he can get past Chadwick quick. He does seem to be faster than Atchison's. Really does commit it hard into the right-hander. Into the draft. Very tricky to go for a move around this part of the track. It's to quite go straight, so it's really tricky to commit to a move as the driver ahead is constantly weaving about as Elfers lots a tyre. And Chadwick and crucially Adjuson's pulling away further ahead. As Prescott now, he's going the long apologies. Prescott's up the inside of Grossman, so Grossman is making this move. It's going to be tight between the two of them. Maybe that BMW can help him out to defend this position. In the end, it's the C8. Always scares the BMW off the racing line as well off the circuit in the end. Is Prescott. Here comes Chambers. He had to pick up. He didn't pick up a fast battery to Chambers, despite being really in the troubles earlier on. He's up into 18th place, and there's Tom Collins, who's missing his front half of his car. He's still got good pace there, catching up in 20.
It just looks angry, doesn't it, without all the front bodywork? My goodness, there's a lot of bent-up race cars here today with just 3 minutes to go in this opening race in the ARL GT Championship at Donington Park. Dear me, there's a lot of damage in the front of that car, and oh dear, that's tough to fit through there. But it just seems that this new Corvette C8R is really, really good on the change of direction. It's of course a completely new chassis. All the other previous Corvette racing cars front engines, but this car mid-engine construction, much stiffer. And actually, the road car has been built in line with the race car as well. So imagine that road car must be pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we'll certainly like a spin in one of them sometimes. Palach still holding off Bulini. Certainly had the pace on Bulini earlier on, but just hasn't really been able to pull away, unlike Lee's. Has a storm off into the distance. Still would be a second and a fourth for Court Sim Racing. Brian Kroon into the pits. He's underfueled, I can only imagine, because that car looks spotless. And this could be another development. Oh wow, I don't think he's even got enough fuel to get to the stall. Maybe he's got his tyres unticked, because this could still be a vertical pole here for Kroon. He's got Darrett Adjuson's coming round the penultimate chicane. No, he's not going to make it. What's holding him up? Come on, Brian. What are you playing at, mate? Get out there. He's not going to do it. No, he's still in the stall. Don't know what's going on, Peter.
Strange. Maybe he's needing the loo, perhaps. Well, the car's thirsty and he needs the loo. Maybe, I don't know. We're just creating theories now. But well, so that means that Fabian Elfers now is in that reverse grid pole. Darrett Adrianson's in 26, so he would start on the front row alongside Elfers, but not quite done yet. And oh, here we go. Of course, only a minute lap. Alexei Nezov about to put a lap on these guys. So Alexa will be wanting to make his way through clean, and oh dear, and trying to. You see Alexei Nezov there. He's getting a wee bit held up. I wonder if Newman will be able to make an advantage from that.
Yeah, that was all pretty hell of a scare. I think with Charles on 3 different laps of this race, I think that was James Crouch maybe just going out of the way. But fortunately for Nessov, well, not fortunately, I mean, he earned it. He managed to build up a gap to Newman, who has got through that traffic much easier. And good driving there from Atkinson's to let the race leader go. And that's a little bit scary there for Nessov. Imagine what it's going to be like for the 40-minute race. Of course, these guys were involved in a massive collision earlier on in the race. So that's why they're so out of position. But yeah, that could be an interesting factor later on. But we are into the final half lap of this race. The timer has elapsed. Quick shout out, by the way, to of course SDK Gaming, provide our lovely overlay for this championship and all of our shows on Apex Racing TV. And if you want to get the SDK Gaming overlay for yourself for streaming or as a heads-up display or for broadcasting, do check out sdkgaming.co.uk as Nesov is rounding the final corner. It's going to be another race, man. It's going to be another extension to his championship lead. Alexei Nesov for Urane Esports wins at Donington. It was an exceptional move to get the lead in the early stages, and he did not blink for a moment after that. Newman and Lee round out what should be a pretty satisfied podium, albeit Newman maybe a bit frustrated he couldn't hold Nesov off the line. Steve Burke, despite dropping a few places in the middle part of the race, he is going to win in the amateur category and maybe even take the lead of the amateur championship. I'm not quite sure about that one, but it sure will be close after today. Marco Tolman with a terrific 11th place, Gowrie with a brilliant 3rd place. I'll be a really happy amateur podium as they get a little bit of the prize money supplied by Colbek Systems, of course. Jan Kerner holds of Kevin Kitzelman. Reverse grid pole will go to Matthias Beer after all of that. Chadwick and Brown miss out, but it will be Beer, Adjacent, Elfers and Rakuti on the front 2 rows of the grid for this for the second race. We'll quickly go through your race order, even though I've gone through them, but we'll still show them up on screen. As you can see there, Alexei Nesov wins out, Newman, Lee, Palic, Fulini, Brown, Engel, Van der Neste, Cortez and Burke rounding out the top 10, and the rest of the order we'll go through for you now. Of course, another one of our sponsors for this championship is Virtual Racing School. They really help us out on Apex Racing TV and also have their telemetry intertwined with Apex Racing Academy. So to give you a little bit more information on Virtual Racing School, we're going to show you a little bit of an advertisement for them, and you can see what they are all about. But we'll be back with you on Apex Racing TV in just a moment.
Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Pekin Freeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
welcome back to the Apex Racing League GT Championship presented by Colbek. Once again, my name is Sam Fitzpatrick. Alongside me is Peter Mackay, and Sam Kume is operating the cameras. Once again, as you just saw there, Virtual Racing School, big thanks to them for supporting us on Apex Racing TV. Mateus Beer, some accusations coming out from Tom McMahon, two-time champion of the series. You'd think that he'd know what he's talking about by now, but he doesn't. He has claimed that Mateus was dropping back deliberately. It's not the case. It's not the case. But he will be starting from pole position for this one, Peter. But I think it's going to be an interesting one. There's a few drivers out of position. Back at Zolder, there was barely anyone out of position from what I recall. But this time, there's quite a few top drivers or quite a few pro drivers in those front few rows. So this one's going to be tricky for the top drivers from race 1 to really get anywhere near back to the front with this largest reverse of the season.
Well, we're going to see. This is going to be the ultimate test to see. We saw Alexei Nezov do it at Montreal, so maybe we'll see if there's some heroics going to happen here today, but it's a big field to come through.
Yeah, it really is, and you can see there Beer on pole position, Atkinson second, Alpha's third, and Rikutsi in fourth place. The rest of the order will go through for you, and it's a very well assorted packet of M&Ms. This one, because it's white and blue all over the place until you get just to 19th and lower, then it is mainly very heavily saturated with the blue dye. Down into 27th place, where we have our race winner from race 1, Alexei Nezov. So will be an interesting sight to see those guys get through. Also, James Crouch starting all the way back from 33rd after being involved in a huge crash. The Frosby flop, I think, was the word I was thinking of earlier on. The bloke who decided to jump over a pole with his back rather than his front. I'm going to put you on the spot, to be honest, Peter. You know, I'm sorry about this, but he's going to win this race because if he could call this one, I think you'd be a blooming genius.
Ooh, that's a tricky one. I think, sitting on the fence, I am going to say Sven Newman.
Really? Okay.
Because he's in a Corvette, and just despite Tom McMahon, who's being mean about my beloved Corvette.
That's fair enough. Fair enough. No Corvettes on the front 3 rows. Let's see what Beer can do to hold off the rest of the pack. Once again, there's a big concertina effect, and this could cause chaos further down the order, but Beer did get away all right. It's a poor start for Dan Atkinson's and Fabian Elpers as Kevin Kitzman moves past his 2 teammates as we've got 3 wide through turn 1. Can they possibly get through? No, they cannot. Kerneth managed to get through unscathed, but we have got a huge crash for Rikuti, who was probably my favourite to win the race, and Atkinson's, who have wiped each other out of the action in the early stages. So it's Beer leading Kitzman. Terrific start for Collins and Chambers to gain 5 and 6 places each off the line, and also Nezov with another stunning start, gaining 5 places in just the first few corners. You can see Make Palic in 19th place in a sea of pro drivers trying to make their way through the amateurs in this early stages, as the field is absolutely line astern. At the moment, we've got Tolman off the circuit after a terrific result in race 1. Marco Tolman's going to have to do the hard work in order to get a decent result in this race 2. It surely is aggressive on this first lap of the race to be right on board with the championship leader.
I think Nezov playing this one really, really smart, just taking his time, just bedding it in and doing a great job to get up 7 positions on lap 1, avoid all of the chaos. I mean, look at this in front. This is the view, and oh, we've got a spinner. That's one more. I think that's Cortez off in the Corvette. Not the car's fault, of course, can't be, impossible. Oh, there you go. There's a Corvette overtaking. Oh no, but turn away, turn away, turn away, turn away.
It is against Nezov. I can forgive that one. So Palic down into 19th, and Nezov is really giving himself a chance at maybe even the race win here. Dean Powell, who started from the pits in race 1, very much under the radar in race 1. I don't think we saw him really at all. He's up into 10th place already. He's trying to get past Jan Kerner, who's having a similar treatment to what he had in race 1. Another brilliant start for Kerner in that race 1. But he was quickly losing places. They ran alongside. Brilliant racing from those two to leave space. However, if you're going to drive like that, you are leaving a lot of time to be gained, as Bingham is going to make this one 3 wide. To the outside goes Tom Bingham. It's Dean Powell on the inside. Can Bingham go all the way around the outside? I don't think he will quite do it. Powell should have the better line through the crane at curves, and that does seem to be the case. Meanwhile, Bingham's teammate, Chris van der Nesse, trying to make up some moves as he's gone off the circuit. That's surely going to be a big impact here. It sure is. Takes out Tom Brown, who had a strong start himself, and Brown had absolutely no way of avoiding that one. Also, Lockie Brown having a separate incident, seemingly.
Oh dear. Well, they always say if you've never crashed at Crane or curves, you're about to. It's just almost the rite of passage to go off there, and it's so easy done. It's just so fast, especially when you've got cars surrounding you. But all the while, Alexei Nezov, Ollie, he very nearly was the bowling pin there, which Tom Brown ended up being. Oh, that's a big lunge. There's surely not room. Oh wow, that's aggressive from Alexei Nezov. My word! And whoa. Who is that weaving about all over the shop? That's that Palic, yes, Palic in the course and racing Corvette. He is not wanting to let Nezov get away from him.
No, yeah, he's trying to just follow in Nezov's tracks at the moment, isn't he? And the C8 could be in for a move here around the outside of the BMW of Gary. Just a matter of time till he gets past Gary, but as you say, he's trying to keep up right now with Nezov. Kerner as well, unfortunately having an off. Front guys are fairly separated at the moment, hence why we're not showing too much of them. Really the action going on in this midfield at the moment, as here comes Nezov. That's another place down. Oh, Gary's gone for a big move there, and that's going to kill the run. And it's surely the opportunity for Palic to gain at least one position, but it's the BMW trying to cover off the inside. I think Palic had to get out of the dots there. He goes a long way around. He's now got to make sure that he doesn't get too aggressive here. Got to think of the long game. Oh, well, no, that wasn't the long game, and they make contact, and now he spins across the circuit. His teammate as well gets hit. I think that's Mike Palic, who has got involved. No, Dominic Engel got there eventually, who's got involved in that one. Oh, well, that's the risk of going around the outside there at the chicane, Peter, and, well, that's one of our heavy hitters out of the running.
Yeah, it's just a little bit impatient there from Mike Palic. You could see Nezov disappearing up the road, and felt like he had to put that move on. But I tell you what, Gowrie was not giving him any kind of compensation at all, and nor should he have. He's there now on pace, on merit. You have to make up your positions accordingly. And I don't think Palic was actually banking on Gowrie holding his ground there, to be honest.
Yeah, he fended that one off absolutely all the way, didn't he? So yeah, it was a shame in the end for those two. And of course, yeah, trouble with the international layouts as well, to be honest, is that chicane is a little bit slower on this national layout. It's one of the main overtaking opportunities, but yeah, 2 now on that occasion. Let's off with the fastest lap of the race, but it's still Matthias Beer leading by 3 seconds at the moment, ahead of Kevin Kittelman. Tom Collins in 3rd position for Team Lizard. Great to see Collins up there in his debut season in the championship. This isn't Matty Chambers' first season. He's been around pretty much from the start. I think didn't do British GT, but done every season since these Sunday GT races for over a year now. But he can't quite get past. This could be an opportunity for a Chambers win, to be honest. He's a very strong driver. Even on Polavino as well, the Austrian, doing well. He might be able to put a move on Chambers here. He just puts his car slightly to the middle to bend off into the last corner.
This would be nice for Tom McMahon to see one of his team's car getting overtaken by a Corvette C8R. Here it goes. Look at this. Round the outside, the Kentucky muscle of the Corvette C8R. Oh, no. This is we are, of course, completely impartial here on the Apex Racing TV, but we will not accept YouTube comment libel under any circumstances. We'll hand it out, but we will not accept it.
Yeah, absolutely. Polovina's really all over the back James. Can't help it. Well, I mean, James did start behind Polovina, but it's tricky to say because we've had the two launches we've had it tonight. Been absolutely disastrous. I mean, like, it must be something about this race. We don't visit this place a whole lot, to be honest, in really any format. And when we do, it's usually a standing start for like the TCRs or maybe MX5s go well around here. So the rolling start seemingly isn't great because the safety car comes in too late. Basically, my point is that so many changes off the line that it's tricky to know how many places have been gained since lap 1. As Nesov, he's always so close to these incidents, isn't he? But apart from Interlagos when he came together with someone else, it's always been all right this season. And that's another excellent move. He's past Broomfield as Burke has a problem. So whilst his teammate is up in 3rd place, Steve Burke, top of the AM drivers in race 1, looking for that amateur championship lead. Well, at the moment, it might not be coming to him with some of his amateur rivals doing quite well. But yeah, that's down to 18th place. They lost a few seconds.
Okay, we're getting stereotypical now, Sam. For our viewers who can't see the YouTube chat, of course you will be able to, but Mark Hutchison says he trusts the engineers from Stuttgart over the fat men in Kentucky. That's just mean. And also the people that make the Corvettes here are Pratt & Miller, put satellites in space, so call me a fat man from Kentucky if I was clever enough to do that.
Yeah. I mean, Mark's not a nice guy, is he? So, might report that one, to be honest. YouTube would have a field day with that one, so, yeah, well done, Mark. Really,
Google is an American company, after all. They'll be quite offended by that.
Yeah. Very disappointed, frankly. So, Prescott...
That lives matter.
Oh, dear. Prescott is in 7th place, so his team knows it up in 3rd and 7th places, and no disrespect to Prescott and Collins, but Burgess tends to be their strongest driver, but they are carrying the team well in this race too. He's got Ronald Grossman though, who's been pretty much overtaking everyone for the entire evening. He overtook a bunch of drivers in race 1 after having a crash in the early stages, and he's doing the same treatment here. He's up 4 places. Prescott only started directly in front of him, but Grossman does look a bit faster at the moment, not close enough into turn 1. You can just see Nesov in the background there in the bright red car. But this is really groovy right now, Peter, for Mateus Beer. His gap is 5 seconds at the moment. I mean, you can barely see anyone in his mirrors. I mean, this is pretty remarkable. It's great to see the fall up there. I mean, Collins has driven the Ferrari. Collins has driven the Ferrari very well so far this season, got a race win, and many top 10s, of course, from Tom Collins. But Beer is representing it well at the moment, and well, at the moment, he is 13 seconds clear of Nesov and maintaining that gap. Half an hour to go, but if Beer can keep up this could be a mighty race win, and Razaholics' first ever race win in this championship.
Could be a shagadelic win for the German Austin Powers in the Ferrari art car as well, as Matty Chambers is fending off from Polovina and Collins in the BMW. It's Tom Brown, I think you were meaning, in the Ferrari, Sam.
Yes.
Also a Tom though.
Yeah. I mean, not sure if there's any excuses there. Chambers, though, he passed. Oh, that was all over the place there for Polovina. Oh, that was almost onto the grass for Elfers. Don't do that. That's really easy to spin. But Chambers up into 3rd place. We'll be interested to see what his pace is now like. I mean, to be fair, Beer's a top driver. Like, even think Beer's not particularly good, but he is like genuinely like talented and stuff. Very jealous. Because he qualifies up in the top 8 most races, so you know it's not a particular surprise that he's up there. But because he did win, I believe 1 race, it may have even been 2 races back in the Apex Racing Academy GT4 Super Series Season 2. Steve Burke's had it off, so it's a shame for him. It's 21st. There's well, this is going to be fun now between these guys. I mean, Tom Collins, Polovina, Elfers, Prescott, and Grossman. I don't think there's a big pace difference between any of these guys, to be honest. And then you got Dean Powell, and then you got Nesov, who's just going to have to be picking off one after the other of these guys. I think Nessel will be hoping that all these guys obliterate themselves and he can just happily go through all of them. But I would like to see Nessel trying to pick each one of these off at a time, because they're all very evenly matched.
Indeed, yeah, and of course the further up the field he gets, the harder it will be to make those passes. But I can imagine for any driver on the grid, when that Urano Esports Porsche appears in your mirrors, that must be quite a daunting sight. And maybe there's that little bit of psychological impact, I suppose, of having the championship leader appear large in your mirrors. You're always going to get a little bit more room than you maybe would for somebody else. You see Polavina trying to make his move now on Collins in the BMW. It's been a good drive from Polavina, and Collins goes wide. Polavina just tucks it up there using the agility of the Corvette C8R. The engineers that make it might not be agile, but the car certainly is.
Yes. Probably, well, it had to back out of it eventually, putting into defense there from Collins. He's works real hard to keep Chambers behind for just a lap, and he's had to work hard to keep Polavina behind. Polavina needs to get past though. If he can't get past right now, then he's going to be sucked up by Alphas, Prescott and co. Now, of course, inevitably Nessov as well, but here comes Polavina. This is much stronger for the Austrian driver. He looks to the inside now. This is looking much better for him. Collins isn't going to let him have it easy, and that's a much better line for Collins. And all of a sudden, he manages to pull a few car lengths. That was smart driving there from Collins. He felt confident on the brakes, putting a bit of faith on Polavina not to wipe him out as well on the inside. And now it's Polavina who loses a place, and Polavina's going to lose a few more places because he gets a tap from behind. Chris Prescott will be getting pretty guilty about that one. That looked like that it was his bad. And Polavina, massive shame, drops outside the top 15.
That is very, very, very unlucky there for Polavina. And whoa, as you see, it's getting busy for Alexei Nezov there, nearly getting a tap for his trouble from Prescott as well. Goodness me. Well, oh, he is a Prescott after all, so you just throw eggs at him. That's a mid-90s British politics reference.
Mid-90s? I'm pretty sure.
I think that was mid. No, that was mid to late 90s when Prescott got egged.
Okay. No, I know about it. I know about it. So
wow.
I do like a good egging. You know, all these protests. Just throw an egg at them, guys. That's how to do it. Yeah. If anyone wants to throw an egg at me, go for it. Doing me. Prescott. He is having to go defensive. Will he crack here? Haha.
I hope he's running on Shell oil.
Ooh, nice one. That was good. That was funny.
I tell you what, these BMWs are some yokes, aren't they?
Lovely stuff. Well, Daniel Lee's right in the mix.
Scrambling for 5th place.
Okay, you're pushing it over the limit now, Peter. The first one's good, but you dampened it now. Not great. I'm going to chicken out on this one. That's me.
Have I poached all your puns?
Well, this is going on social media.
Oh dear. I thought the rugby kick was going to go on, but anyway, there was, you see, Grossman in the Corvette. Look at that, going through there. Oh, that is a fine move there from Ronald Grossman, edging it out, and then Nezov and Elfers going side by side. Elfers is in the AM class, and he's squaring up to the overall championship leader. Very well done. Don't give any quarter. I tell you what, we haven't mentioned Kevin Kittleman, Sam, who's up in 2nd spot as Nezov has to really lean on the brakes. He's good, isn't he? My goodness.
Well, he's got all past about 6 cars there. I mean, one of them was cleared out of the way, to be fair, but he's overtaken like 5 or 6 cars there in like 2 laps. I mean, he's an absolute machine. Is Alexei Nesov. He's maybe a 2nd lap quicker than these guys, but it's not as though he's in like a different continents. He's just so efficient and so aggressive with those moves. But like I said earlier on, apart from that incident with Bulini back at Interlagos, he's really just got away with it throughout the season. So he's up into 5th place. The gap to the race leader is 17 seconds though. But he could still get 2nd place. I don't think he'll catch up to Beer. He could still get 2nd because Kismet is only 8 seconds up the road. So yeah, some possibilities. Look at Collins. Collins was all under pressure, wasn't he, for a bit? And he's miles away from these guys now. That's remarkable actually, that Collins has put that much of a gap. He won't be able to keep Nessel behind, I'm sure, but still, a top 5 might be possible here for Collins, as long as the likes of Lee and Fulini and Newman can't make up too much progress in the next few laps.
No, we'll see. But just coming back to, well, this is fascinating to see Matty Chambers really on the move. As soon as he got into clear air, he was really able to lay down some fast laps, and well, he's now in chase of Kevin Kittelman, who we must say has done a superb job to hold 2nd place for such a long time, of course, and class leader and 2nd overall. Very impressive indeed, and you can see this. Goodness me, look at the freight train gathering up behind Ronald Grossman. Goodness me, they're all wanting a taste of his sauce.
Yes. This could be a move here for Broomfield. Oh no, it wasn't quite enough, just slightly longer route to go. Then all of a sudden he's having to go on the defence from Lee. Oh, now Lee's having to go on the defence from Prescott. He comes to the inside. Wow, this is such a tight battle. I mean, we've been paying attention to a lot of these guys, and there have been a few moves elsewhere, so apologies if we haven't caught them, but honestly, this is by far the closest pack that we've got at this present moment. As that's Fulini up another place. Fulini casually getting lots of plays. Nice drive so far from Fulini. I know he's not keeping up with Nessel, but well, no one is at the moment, so he's doing very well. So too is Crouch, and so too is Lee at the moment. There goes Newman. He's doing a good job, and he should have a better exit here than Prescott, who has had a rough 10 minutes or so. So initially colliding with Polovina, he's just been sent backwards since then. As off the circuit goes Jensen Adjunson, who's got to try to get back onto the circuit safely. He does a very good job there, but he does lose probably about 6 or 7 places now.
Yeah, I tell you what, actually that was really well held from Jensen Adjunson, and he actually was going to rejoin, but very cleverly looked in his mirror, looked in his relative box, and thought, well, no, I've got to just keep on the grass here, and he kept bobbling along on the grass, and then entered the circuit again when it was safe to do so. Good stuff there from Jensen Adriansson, making the best of a bad lot, you could say. Oh, it's Dean Powell. Wow, brilliant move on the brakes there from Powell past Fellini. But just again, whoa, James Crouch in the Ferrari. Oh, it's not been a good meeting for him, Sam.
Yeah, apart from saying the high jump world record earlier on, he's set himself quite a task to do since then. Did very well in this race too, but so that has set him back as Adjunson's versus Prescott, 2 amateur drivers. Prescott is probably going to lose this one eventually. Oh, well, they're both lost on that one. Oh, actually, Adjunson's manages to get back going pretty quick. Prescott's got to be careful, don't take out your teammate. There goes Burke. And he's got to get back to Kerner. Shame for Prescott. I mean, that was an intense 10 minutes there of really fighting with some top drivers. And this is as Fulini is off. And that's Newman. He's gone past. I wonder if we get a replay of that. I'm not quite sure what happened with the camera angle that we had. But that's a massive shame for Fulini. Was it a tap here from race 1 2nd place?
I wonder. Well, let's have a look. Yes, a big one. A really big one. I did think that's a bit of a collector's item to see Matteo Fellini make a mistake, but no, it wasn't a mistake. He got, to be honest, no other word for it, he got nerfed off there.
Could be a penalty in the waiting as Alphas. Down to 9th. Let's Liam Broomfield go fairly easy. Got Powell, and then of course the very strong Neiman. A little bit further back, but he's making good progress. He's up into 7th. There goes Alphas, who was, well, letting Broomfield go easy just a moment ago, and now he's going for an ambitious dive on that occasion. But yeah, Alpha's Bloomfield. And Burke just going past Bingham. Bingham off the circuit. And making sure that he rejoins safely on his way.
Yeah, but good stuff there from Tom Bingham to wait and hang on for an opportunity to come back onto the circuit. So, where are we at the front then? Alexei Nezov in 4th, and he is really on the charge now. He's got a bit of clean air. He's got past Tom Collins. Next up is Maddie Chambers in the other Porsche 911 RSR. Of course, Kevin Kittelman in the RSR too. Matthias Beer leading for Ferrari. Scuderia Austin Powers.
Yes, yeah. I'm not sure what the Razaholics is.
No idea.
Don't know what that means in his native tongue. But it's working well for him. I mean, Beer's pace, genuinely, it's good. It's very good. I mean, on that last lap, Nesov, what does Nesov do on this lap? So Nesov was slower than Beer on that last lap. Beer was 1/100th of a second faster. From what I've seen, it's only been a couple of tenths. I don't know if we can maybe compare Beer and Nesov's laps over the last 5 laps, because that'd be, I think, quite flattering, I think, to Beer, because he's really not been a whole lot slower. But you can see there to Kittelman, way faster. There you go, thanks to Sam there. But yeah, Nesov only slow on 2 of the last 5 laps. And it's fairly close on the most part, apart from that lap 19 when, well, Nesov put in a blistering lap time, didn't he, on that lap 19. But apart from that, really evenly matched. So nice work from Beer. I think even if he hadn't have started from pole position, he would have had a very good chance. But really, when all the cards fall into your lap, he's played them well.
Oh, he has, yeah, for sure. It's he's got into turn 1 clean and really then started to build the pace. Knew that he had a bit of an edge over Kevin Kittelman. Of course, Kevin Kittelman in the AM class, we must stress that. Of course, any driver with a white marker beside their name on our timing screen is an AM class, and blue is the Pro class. And Kevin Kittelman doing a really, really strong job here. And you can just see the confidence there going into the old hairpin. You can see the 911 RSR is more or less mid-engine, so it doesn't have quite the same typical 911 handling characteristic, but you can see him really backing it in there, rotating it on the brakes, getting back on the gas, and really, really impressive.
These 2nd, 3rd and 4th guys congregating at the moment on the same bit of circuit. Chambers 4 tenths faster than Kittelman on that last lap. Nesov a further 7 tenths of a second faster, so they're all going to reach one another, kind of have the same points here in a lap or 2. You'll see their lap times pop up on the time tower this time round. And yeah, pretty much identical from last time. Polovina's had another off. Well, what if we get a GoFundMe for Edon for emotional support in this race, because it's been a tough one for him. I think he's driven very well. Now, if this is a self-incident, then I'm not really going to feel sorry for him. But let's see if it is. No, it's a self-incident. Yeah, no pity. Get a refund, guys, on that GoFundMe. He's off the circuit. It's the T3 Esports car, and he's 5 places, I think.
Well, at the end of the day, you could never be having a bad time when you're driving a Corvette, because you're driving a Corvette. What could be cooler than that?
I think Edon's pushing that hypothesis right to the limit in this race too, because I'm not sure if he's got a smile on underneath that helmet right now.
He won't be blaming the Corvette. Put it that way.
No. Well, no, it's not the Corvette's fault, is it? I mean, it's held up brilliantly. He's had a few problems, but it looks spectacular still. It's not a scratch on it.
No, and he's really shown the quite incredible off-road abilities of the Corvette C8R, which is a feature which I have to say is very much an added benefit for a car in that class.
Definitely.
Get down to your local Chevrolet dealer for the new Corvette C8R.
Well, let's see how these Porsches. Oh, what are you doing, Kevin? Come on, Kevin. Right,
He might have got to slow down, I think.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, that's a good shot, actually, probably. Sorry, Kevin. Here comes Nesov up the inside. Lovely stuff on Chambers. 2 places gained in a few hundred meters. Chambers might be on the comeback here, though. Usually Matty's pretty feisty. Not big enough breaking over turn 1. Let's go for a lunge. As Nesov up into 2nd place. Now the gap to the leader is 16 seconds. There is no chance that Nesov will catch that one unless Beer has, frankly, 2 spins. You need to have 2 spins or a crash in order for that gap to come down, because he's absolutely cleared off. And I mean, we've seen a couple of times this season Nesov's teammates make some errors from the lead. Hopefully Beer won't do the same thing, because with 12 minutes to go, this one is in the bag for him. He's about a quarter of a lap clear of the rest of the order, but Nesov up into 2nd place, and I mean, another first and 2nd. He's really putting his mark on this championship right now. So.
I've just seen it in the YouTube chat. Hold my IPA, which is a good one. I like that. It says Nesov driver of the day for him. That's a hard one to argue with. I mean, this has been Donington Park National is not a circuit where you are awarded many easy overtaking opportunities. You've got to make every single move work yourself. And well, Alexei Nesov, and you think the amount of chaos that he's had to avoid and get through and run at the pace he is. It's not taking anything away from Matthias Beer's run from pole, very impressive as well, but Nesov, a lot of the time where he's come off the back of a great race 1 and then hit problems in race 2 on his way through the pack, today has been no such issue, and I think he'd have to get my vote as well for the Colbek driver of the day.
Yeah, of course you can vote for that at colbek.co.uk/iRacing. Where you can vote for any of the drivers out on the track. And of course, he would become the first 2-time winner of that award this season, as Lee is up into 5th place. He gets past Tom Collins. Collins could still be in for a huge heap of points if he's got some good drives behind him, hasn't he? He's got Grossman, who I think might be passed right away. Then Broomfield Newman, who might get past, but I think he can keep behind Powell potentially. Here comes Grossman. Nice move there. Nice drive this one from Ronald. And he's got a chance at holding on to that 6th place to the end. But yeah, of course, Nesov got the driver of the day a couple of races back at Motegi, when he won both race 1 and race 2, and by comfortable margins in both. I think he would be a worthy winner on that one, as you say, Peter, tonight. First sector of anyone was Nesov on that last lap, and he did take 2 tenths out of the race leader, but with that gap start up at 15 seconds and not too much going at the moment. A last shout out, because we've already mentioned, of course, SDK Gaming and Apex Race, Virtual Racing School for helping us out, but also Apex Racing Academy, who provide 29 data packs, of which they contain setups, track guides, weekly group coaching sessions, also integrated with VRS telemetry, and loads more stuff as well. So do check out Apex Racing Academy for rallycross and road setups and general tips from some of the best drivers in the world of iRacing. Do go to apexracingac.com for more info on that. As Newman is in 8th place, he's trying to get past Broomfield. Both just got past Collins, and then Powell, and then Elfers just at the back of this one in 11th place. Brian Kroon catching up as well, so it's a nice 5-car battle.
Certainly is, yeah, indeed. And well, of course, it's been a really enjoyable meeting here at Donington Park, the Apex Racing League GT Championship. Of course, Formula 1 did come here in 1993 for the European Grand Prix, and it was actually very much the kind of labour of love of the circuit's former owner, Sir Tom Wheatcroft, who gave a lot back to the sport. And he actually apparently lost multiple £1 million of his own money because it was, remember how wet it was when Ayrton Senna basically overtook the entire field in the wet on lap 1. And yeah, there wasn't quite the same amount of spectators turned out because of the wet weather. But Tom Wheatcroft got to hand over the winner's trophy to Ayrton Senna, which he said was worth worth every penny, and I can imagine. And of course, the man that would have called all of that action was Murray Walker, who sadly passed away yesterday. And we send our very deepest condolences and sincere best wishes to Murray Walker's friends and family, and an inspiration to us all behind the mic, I think we could say quite safely, Sam.
Absolutely. I don't think there's a commentator, let alone, as Newman just goes for a move there, I don't think there's a commentator, let alone a motorsport commentator, who wasn't inspired by Murray. Certainly, by far the best announcer that I've ever heard. And yeah, it is very sad. But I mean, up till last year, I mean, he was still doing podcasts with various people, sharing his insights, and it's nice that we've got thousands and thousands of races to look back on. And certainly I spent much of yesterday just going through the compilations of his memories. So no, we've still got treasure troves of them to go through, so it certainly does leave a very long legacy behind him.
Oh, well, it absolutely. I can thoroughly recommend now, don't get the book, get the audio book, because Murray's autobiography, which was published quite some time ago, it's called Unless I'm Very Much Mistaken. But when you download the audio book, he reads it. And it's the story, obviously the whole story of his life, and it is just fantastic. It's about 4 hours long, and I remember listening to it in the car, and I've never had 4 hours just breeze by in the blink of an eye, with Murray just carrying you along up the M6 it was on the way home. And yeah, he could honestly read the shipping forecast to make it sound exciting.
Yeah, yeah, pretty insane. Yeah, we see Dean Powell trying to overtake Tom Collins at the moment. It's the battle for 9th and 10th. Also game pretty tasty between Christopher Vandenesse and Gonzalo Cortez and Edon Polavina. These guys particularly close. We might see a move actually at the end of this straight for Gonzalo Cortez. Apologies for Cortez for his flag not showing up. He is from America, California, to be more precise. We'll certainly show that flag in the near future. But just backing out of that one, in fact, on that occasion was Cortez. Opportunity for Vandenesse to make a slight break for it. Also, Galmetz versus Prescott versus Kerner. I believe Galmetz has just got past those couple of drivers. And actually, that last lap of Galmetz was also very strong, so maybe it is Prescott attacking Kerner. Prescott, of course, was way up the order. He was up in like the top 5, I think, at one point, was the BMW driver. Far away from that, he got overtaken and then eventually had a spin. But 19th place would be nice for him to get that extra championship point. Would help out Team Lizard, potentially in the team's championship.
Could be, yeah. Hopefully we can gather up a few more points. But oh, he's got big attention here from Kurnoff in also in the BMW M8 as well. It's I see Cortez having a big lunge up the inside there of Polavina, and Vandenesse got quite a lot of damage on the rear of the car. Obviously had someone hit him from behind at some point. There's actually been quite a few of the 911 RSRs which have got this sort of squashed up look at the back.
Yeah, I mean, all these different cars all have kind of their weaknesses, don't they? I think I certainly remember the... Oh yeah, of course. That's that strength all around made out of cast iron are those cars. But I remember the Z4, which of course has been retired in recent months. But of course that always kind of caved in at the front. The middle of the grille would always kind of be pushed further and further into the engine as the race went on. They all have these very strange deformities. Unfortunately, no damage model, of course, for these cars yet. Even though some elements of the damage model have been implemented. You can lose the spoiler, for example, but certainly not been fully implemented. Hopefully next build we will have that, as Powell still going defensive against Collins. I think in fact that's him getting past Collins, apologies. What was their last lap times? Yes, it was. So that was Powell getting past Collins. And now it's Elfers and Crone who's caught up to these guys. Fulini as well in 13th place. I think Fulini might just be short, or he might catch up with these guys in the last lap and maybe get 3 places for himself. So there's this big for Fulini. There he is, trying to catch up to them.
Yeah, and Fulini, you've got to think he'll be pretty annoyed after that little bit of a bump from Sven Newman, which of course put Fulini down the order from where he was. And that aside, it's been another solid drive from the Italian, and the Porsche just picking up points as he goes along without too much fuss, as Alexei Nezov just slams in the fastest lap of the race, 101.2. That's only a few tenths off qualifying pace. Now bear in mind, we've been racing for nearly 40 minutes. Those tyres will not be what they would be on a qualifying run, so wow, that's mighty impressive from the Russian star.
Yeah, he's certainly not let down the mantle, has he? As this race has gone on, really an on-off button, I think, for Nesov. Either he's just absolutely cruising, or he's going all-out attack. Certainly does seem to be doing the latter right now. As Collins lets these guys go, what's that, a slowdown maybe for Collins? It is easy to pick them up around this circuit, particularly the old hairpin, and then his right hands are just coming up on the circuit. Very flat curves, of course, around this track as Nesov sets another fast start for the race. I mean, to be fair, Nesov playing fast up to the race. It's not only 3.5 tenths faster than Beer on that last lap. I cannot underestimate how quick Matthias Beer has been and how deserved this race win is going to be should he hold on for the remaining, well, just 1 and a bit laps he has got, because he's heading onto the back straight at the moment. I even see him right in the background there. Yeah, you can see the very groovy livery that he's got on that car. Yeah, Brandon Nesse, still this battle going on between himself, Polovino and Cortez. So Cortez actually dropping to the back of this train, and it's Polovino. He might be able to recover back up into 15th, but yeah, Cortez just having the better of him by his C8 counterpart, and still plenty to play for in this one, and a couple of other battles here at Donington as we close the meeting.
Indeed, yeah, we've got to give a shout out to Daniel Lee as well in the Colbek Porsche. He of course got on the podium in race 1 and currently sitting in 5th, and I tell you what, 2 top 5s, especially with the reverse grid as big as it was, 27 inversion places. I mean, for Daniel Lee to put together 2 top 5s, very impressive indeed. And just as he says that, just for effect, a 101.2 from Daniel. He's on it.
Yeah, that is like half a tenth slower than the first half of the race, but out in the lead, no need for a fastest lap, but he's come very close as Matthias Beer, the man who started from pole position, a man who carried so much damage but fought so hard for a reverse grid pole. And after winning a race in the Apex Racing Academy GT4 Super Series, he wins his first race in the Apex Racing League GT Championship. Matthias Beer for Razaholics wins, and by a big margin, over Alexei Nesov here at Donington. Nesov ends up as by far the highest point scorer though across tonight's meeting. Matty Chambers with a very warm welcome back to the podium. Kevin Kittelman very much getting his championship back on course with a stunning 4th position for Indy Autosports Red. Daniel Lee couldn't quite catch up near the end. Powell with a very nice 9th place. Nice to see him back up in those top places after starting from the pits in race 1. He held off Elfers and Crone. Now there's still the Randonese, Polovina and Cortez battle going on, but well, that's how close the entire field was. They crossed the line now, and nice defending there from Vandanese. Palach, after having a mare in the early stages, he cannot quite get Lockie Brown to the line. Less than a tenth of a second separating the two of them at the close. 22nd and 23rd places for those drivers. Well, we've been to some pretty wacky circuits so far this season, Peter. We've got a few more wacky ones to go to, but well, I very much enjoyed that one. It was quite nice compared to maybe Zolder that we visited last time, which was really tricky to overtake. And when drivers did overtake it, it quite often ended up in collisions. We certainly weren't short on collisions tonight, but this circuit was that much more raceable, and well, it just shows how good the national layouts is. It was a pleasure to watch these high performance GT cars race around here tonight.
It was an absolute pleasure, and like you say, we see the GT3 specification cars race at Donington in the real world in the British GT Championship, but GTE, of course, is kept for IMSA and, of course, the World Endurance Championship, and unfortunately they don't come to Donington Park. They should, but they don't, so it was really cool to see those cars out there today, and of course with that little bit more aerodynamic grip, you could really exploit that, because there's so many fast corners at Donington, which makes it a real joy to drive around. And I think that's what the advantage that we have, or the special thing about sim racing is you can get these wonderful combinations that wouldn't maybe necessarily happen in the real world, but do here in the sim.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. Was a pleasure to see it tonight. First German to win a race this season, I think. I'm not sure. I'm kind of guessing that, but I think that's the case. And also third Ferrari. I think we've only had 5 race winners this season, maybe 6, and 3 of them have been Ferraris. So strong car. Alexei Nessov was 12 seconds behind in the end. Matthias Beer, Matty Chambers in 3rd place, and Kevin Kittelman, top of the amateur drivers. And after a brilliant first round of the championship, Kittelman, that is back to where we want to see him. And yeah, he really is putting out his claim for the amateur championship after a poor night for Dara Adjinsons. Daniel Lee with a strong 5th place, might be up into the top 3 in the championship after that. Then it was Ronald Grossman, Sven Newman, good recovery for him, Stephen Broomfield, Dean Powell, and Fabian Elfers. Great result for Elfers as well, really fought hard tonight. Then it was Brian Crone, Tom Collins, Matteo Fulini, Jensen Adjinsons, and Chris Bantanese running out the top 15. Then it was Edon Polavina, Gonzalo Cortez, Steve Burke, Chris Prescott, and Anton Galmetza, and Kerner, Lockie Brown, Make Palach, Tom Bingham, Dominic Engel, Dave Chadwick, Derek Holland, Tom Brown, round out the top 28, and then it was Marco Tolman. Now, will Tolman score points? No, he will not. I think he will. Was he 3 laps down? If he was 3 laps down, then he won't score points. So shame there for Tolman. Also, Crouch, Gary, Adjinsons, and Rakuti all don't score points. So a few drivers using their faster pairs, a few unable to do so, it seemed. That's a massive shame for Tolman as well, after finishing 2nd place in race 1 in the amateur category. Does still get that £4 of prize money, provided of course by our sponsor for the series, Colbek.co.uk. We're gonna. I really want to have a chat with him, so I'm gonna have a chat with him. It is Matthias Beer, who wins his first race in the Apex Racing League GT Championship. Congratulations, Matthias. In that race 1, did you know what the reverse grid was, and were you particularly nervous about getting that reverse grid pole?
Yes, when I got spun by Matty, or with the accident with Matty, I realized I was in 21st place, and then I thought, let's have a go for a reverse grid pole. And yeah, that's why I was a bit slow the last laps. And yeah, it worked out.
Well, absolutely, because your pace in that race 2 was pretty awesome. Did you feel particularly comfortable around the circuit? Do you think the Ferrari suited this track?
I didn't drive any other car than the Ferrari in Donington, but it was quite comfortable driving it. Sometimes on a few corners you have a loose a loose rear, but I managed it with the setup, and then it was quite comfortable, but a bit understeery, but it was okay. So
definitely. And I mean, we're nearly halfway through the season now. In fact, are we half? I mean, we might be bang on halfway around the season. I think this was round 6 of the championship. It was, so we're halfway around the season. What are your aims for the second half of the season? You got this race win now, which is, I guess, the biggie. But is there anything else that you're looking forward to? Maybe a certain position in the drivers' championship, or are you not too fussed about that stuff?
Well, the grid is very competitive, so I'd be very happy to be in the top 10 and at the end of the season. I think I won't get any more lucky than today to maybe get a win or a podium, because drivers like Nesov or Kittel, Nesov is very strong, and I think Laubisch also is very strong normally. So top 10 would be great, yeah.
Definitely. Well, you're certainly doing enough for that at the moment. Matthias, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, shout out to my family, my parents, watching every race. Hi. Hope you enjoyed the race. Hope you enjoyed the show. Every other spectators and watchers, hope you enjoyed the show.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Matthias, and yeah, best of luck for keeping this form up for the rest of the season.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Matthias Beer there, your race 2 race winner, and a very deserved one. 12 seconds clear of the rest of the order by the end of the race. So Peter, you've got a few choices here for the second interview of tonight. Who are you going to have a chat with?
I think Kevin Kittelman, actually. I think he was mighty impressive in race 2 there. Kevin, welcome to the Apex Racing TV commentary box. That was a superb drive there in race 2. How was it from your driver's seat?
First of all, thank you. Wow. It was for me. It was a like you said, a stellar drive, a stellar race. The start was great. I don't know if I jumped it there a little bit because the people ahead of me were going really slow, but I think I saw Matthias going, so then I went too. But yeah, Matthias proved once again why he's in the pro class. Straight from the start, he drove away and left me no chance on catching up to him. Throughout the race, at the middle of the race, I overcooked my tires a little bit, so I had to bring him down a little bit so I don't lose the car at any point. And then till the end of the race, Alex A and Maddie came around, also Danny Lee, and those guys, their pace is just out of this world. So I didn't fault Maddie and Alex A to secure a safe spot in the top 5 and also the amateur win. And yeah, I'm glad it turned out the way. So yeah.
And of course, you guys at Indie Autosport, you've got quite a stronghold, and it's a bit of an Indie Autosport. We should call it the Indie Amateur Sport class or something like that. We'll come up with a catchy name for it, because if it's not you, it'll be Dara or it'll be Drew Becker or whatever. I mean, and of course, all of you are using most of you are using the 911, at least competing for the AM Class Championship. Tell us about how much you guys do in the week and what sort of techniques you have to work together as a team to get such good results.
Basically, like we said, for season 4, we want to practice a lot more than we practiced for season 3, because we practiced more from in season 3 than we did in season 2, and we saw already how do you say it? I'm lost for words right now. An improvement, thank you. And so he said, okay, now for season 4, we want to go all in. It's a long calendar we have ahead of us, so we want to give it all. And now with this title sponsor, even more. During the week we try to practice almost every day, turning at least around 50 to 100 laps. I think a big part is also that we're also running together to practice overtakes on such difficult tracks like Donington, Motegi, Zolder, all that kind of tracks. And basically we're pushing ourselves always to get better and improve our times. Like we had one practice session, for example, at Zolder, where we said, okay, we're gonna end it here, and then Jensen and Drew, they always set a new best lap time, and then I set a new best lap time, and it continued, and that way we stayed like another 2 hours in the session, and I think that's what helping us the most improving in this league here.
No substitute for hard work. That's what I like to hear. Very good. Finally, speaking of circuits, I'm very excited because next weekend we are off to Sebring, and of course you'll be able to watch the day before. Of course, is the 12 hours of Sebring, if in the IMSA WeatherTech Championship. So you can get all kinds of tips from those guys, and then go racing. Go racing on Sunday night. I mean, how are you feeling heading to Sebring? Because it's such a special track. But what are your thoughts?
Exactly. Yeah. First of all, about Sebring, you gotta respect the bumps. If you don't do this, especially in the sunset turn, you're out. If you don't find your line, if you go too early on the gas, you're out. If you miss your braking point, you go too wide, people can dive on the inside and go around you. So Sebring is a difficult place to race, but I love it there, to be honest. And I really hope from the 12-hour race I can take maybe 1 or 2 tips and tricks from the teams how should I say it? To take an advantage in the race.
Absolutely. Well, I'll be watching it with 1 or 2 beers, which is very much the Sebring way as well. Fantastic. Well, Kevin, thanks so much for coming in to chat to us. Great result in race 2, and looking forward to seeing you at Sebring next week.
Thanks for having me.
So who next, Sam?
Well, I think we're going to have a chat with our Race 1 winner and Race 2 second place. It is Alexei Nessel who joins us in the commentary box now. Congratulations, Alexei. I was just watching back that race start for you in Race 1. You must have been very pleased with that overtake you made through the first sector.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, I was preparing for it because I understood that in this track, overtake is pretty difficult, and I just put a very low wing on the setup, which just let me go side by side in the braking points in almost every corner. So that's also helped me in the second race to fight through the field. So yeah, and I should say this was like kind of strategy.
That's really interesting to hear, actually. So was there any? Did you feel like that made the car any slower, or do you think actually taking out that wing didn't really affect your pace too much?
Yeah, of course, I was struggling in the corners, and probably in general it was a bit slower than it would be with the high wing, but I just tell you that it's really helped me in the second race to fight through the field, because in the start nobody is pushing 100%, people are trying to feel the limit, and at this time the setup doesn't make such big difference, and it helped me really a lot to fight through faster than others. So, and yeah, that's how I ended up in P2.
Absolutely. When we look back at this first half of the season, it's been pretty perfect for yourself. I mean, is there anything you think you can improve on for these second half of the season coming up, or do you think you're just going to try to keep doing the same?
Obviously I need to keep doing the same, because I already had the races when I managed to win both races, and I'm trying to get as much points as possible, because I don't know, probably I will miss a couple of rounds. So yeah, I need to make the gap, which will let me even miss 1 or 2 rounds and still be finishing P1.
Absolutely. Have you got any real world racing lined up for this season, or is it still a bit up in the air at the moment?
Still looking for, yeah, it's a bit harder than I expected, even in the winter. So, but still, I'm still looking for a seat. Not sure that I will find the regular place for this year, but still hope to find something.
Well, absolutely wish you the best of luck for that
Thank
one,
you.
Alexei. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Shout out to my teammate, which was sleeping all the race long, and I couldn't even wake him up. So our team championship is still uncertain because of these situations.
Right. Okay. Wow. Well, that's we'll give Nicholas a hard time on that one next week, as I hope you
Yeah.
will as well. Thanks for having a chat with us, Alexei. We'll see you next week.
See you. Bye bye.
Alexei Nesov, that really interesting, Peter, to hear that he took some wing out. I mean, that sounds risky to me, to be honest, around a circuit like this when you're really leaning on the tyres a lot. You've got a lot of high-speed corners. To casually just take out a bit of wing to make it more raceable, risky, but there's no doubt it paid off.
Goodness, yeah, that's makes his move on cold tyres down the Craner curves even more impressive. I mean, wow. But interesting is, I think it's a very good point, because there's no point having all the aero grip and all the mid corner speed if you've got a car parked in the apex in front of you. So that's really smart, actually, from Alexei. But of course, you've got to be able to handle a pretty loose race car to be able to do that. So wow, yeah, the mighty impressive. And yeah, still stand by my my vote for Colbek driver of the day, Alexei Nesov.
Yeah, I think that's yeah, I think that's well placed. We'll see what the people decide. You can, of course, cast your ballots if you go to colbek.co.uk/iRacing. And yeah, you can vote there. And of course, massive thanks to Colbek for making this championship as brilliant as it is. Of course, Colbek providing us prize money for this series. So some prize money for both the top 3 in the professional and the amateur. Yeah, the top 3 in both the professional and the amateur races in both race 1 and 2 get a bit of prize money. So really terrific for those guys. How much prize money must Nesov have by now? He gets 12 quid for every race win. So yeah, he's more than made up his entry fee. Safe to say. So nice work there from Nesov on that front. And of course, massive thanks to Colbek. Do certainly check them out to get discounts on everything that runs your business IT, whether that's Office 365, Altaro. Yeah, pretty much everything. So do check out colbek.co.uk, and once again, big thanks to them for helping us out here on Apex Racing League. Yeah, of course, next up, Peter, we have Sebring. The reason why we're visiting Sebring, of course, is partly due to the real world 12 hours, but mainly because the iRacing 12 hours is the week afterwards. And of course, it's a bit of a preparation for that event. So I'm expecting some of these guys, particularly, for example, Core, who will be, of course, making a big effort, potentially even in top split for that race. They'll be, I imagine they're going to be very strong. A lot of hours being put in, not necessarily for this championship even, but just to make sure that they are in tip-top condition when it comes to that next special event of the season.
Oh, well, I mean, Sebring is just so special. It really is an amazing motor race. It's been going since 1952, the 12 hours of Sebring, and actually next year will be its 70th running. Incredible. And it's the circuit itself is the actual surface is very, very old. It was built in the 1940s, so it's cracked up concrete on the surface at Sebring. So it's a real challenge. And what's interesting is that the Porsches appear to have had a little bit of an edge, only a small one, over the rest of the field throughout the season. However, the main thing that the guys have complained about the Porsches is how it behaves over bumps. And what is Sebring famous for? The bumps. So you could be right with Core Sim Racing. The Corvette is very strong at Sebring, so it's going to be cracking. And I think it's great that we'll have the real world 12 hours of Sebring the day before, so we'll have lots to talk about.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, it's a good point with the Porsche. Maybe its weakest circuit all season long. So, yeah, maybe a change to the pecking order. We are certainly looking forward to it on Apex Racing TV. Of course, once again, thanks to Colbek, thanks to Apex Racing Academy, thanks to SDK Gaming, and thanks to Virtual Racing School from all of us here at Apex Racing TV. And of course, if you've enjoyed this video, leave a like on it. And subscribe to Apex Racing TV, because we've got 20 odd broadcasts going on per week covering prototype racing, GT racing, touring cars. Don't think we've got any rallycross at the moment. No, we've got the team stream too, haven't we? We've got of Rallycross and yeah, loads of stuff. I think even over racing we've got a little bit of at the moment on Apex Racing TV, whether you're European or American as well. Got races in both of those time slots. So do certainly give the channel a subscribe and check out our social media as well on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. We're posting highlights of each of our races, little snippets of about 30 seconds to show you some of our best moments of the week. But for now, from myself, Sam Fitzpatrick, from Peter Mackay and from Sam Kumo, it says another win for Nesov. It's a first race win for Matthias Beer, and we'll see you for meeting 7 of the championship at Sebring next Sunday. See you then.
Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.